You know, it's kind of hard to believe that we have already passed week number 7 in the prep football season here in Wisconsin. Unbelievable that we only got 2 weeks left before we gear up for the playoffs, Eric.
It's coming down to it.
Yeah, unbelievable. And let's talk about, some of those teams that are going to be in, some that are on like the verge of getting in, and some that are kind of running away with it, including Sun Prairie. It seemed like that was a big matchup in the Big 8 this Thursday night, or last Thursday night. They took on Madison West. Wasn't even close. Sun Prairie just continues to dominate.
Yeah, for as surprising of a season as Madison West has had this year, just not really up to the task of facing a Sun Prairie team who's now 7-0, a 37-7 victory, 470 yards of offense, and once again, Draven Peoples in on that, 12 carries, 114 yards and a touchdown. But they also did some damage through the air. Jack Zander, 7 of 12, 197 yards and a pair of scores. So a well-rounded game for Sun Prairie, and we'll see them coming up this next week.
Yeah, the Cardinals with a very balanced offense. They got a great defense, too. We're going to see them against Verona. Verona at that 5-win threshold with the win against Madison East. They're going back to the playoffs.
Yeah, Verona, a team that, this is going to be the game to watch, I think, for us to be like, all right, well, Verona, you need to win both your final 2 games. You need Sun Prairie to lose both games, and then you're still watching out for Mount Horeb-Barneveld. So they're at 6-1 right now. They're in the cusp of maybe taking that Big 8 title. So a lot hinging on this game this week for sure.
Absolutely. So, yeah, Middleton, a team that I think you meant instead of Mount Horeb, they're the ones at 6-1.
Oh, yeah, well, whatever. Yeah. It's all the same.
They both start with the M's. They beat La Follette 24-6. Middleton running towards the playoffs as well. And surprisingly, how about Janesville Craig? They're just a game away from making it to the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's 5 games and you're in. And even if you don't win any of the other games, and we were talking about this before we came on air, like there's still that possibility, even with 4 wins, if all the things lay out correctly, you can still get into the postseason. It just depends on how many teams get to 5 wins. But a lot, kind of a surprise there, but also, a lot of hope still for Janesville Craig.
Let's talk a little bit about that Mount Horeb team. They are in the Badger South or the Badger North, and they got a big win over Portage, 57-14. They continue to roll. Their 1 loss on the season to Wanakee, that's still at the top of the conference.
I'm just looking at high-scoring game once again. You're out-gaining your opponent 492 yards of offense to 123. So I like to compare those numbers. Just shows just the level of domination. Luke Hagelin, 13 of 16, 199 yards and 3 touchdowns. Also, 5 touchdowns from Malik Winston, 18 carries, 200 yards. What?
Yeah, right.
That's real.
Wanakee, a winner, 43-3. They continue to roll. There's not much that seems to be able to stop the Warriors right now.
Yeah, I mean, Javian Dane and Elo Johnson, we talked about last week, both finding the end zone. Nate Carter doing it through the air. 11 of 13, 160 yards and 3 touchdowns. So, again, these teams all kind of, that we're talking about, getting it all together at the right time. You're looking at, okay, well, we got 2 weeks left. Let's, hit the ground running and get everything kind of rolling as we're looking towards potential playoff games.
We saw DeForest lose in week 1. They haven't lost much since then. They are at 5-2 now. They are a playoff team. A win over Beaver Dam and a big game coming up against the aforementioned Mount Horeb team.
Yeah, I mean, like you're saying, it's just a team that, to be correct on that, the Mount Horeb-Barneveld at 6-1 now. Yeah, it's a game to watch and a lot on the line and a lot hinging on that game for DeForest. As you mentioned, 5-2. You get to 6 wins, you're looking at not only are you solidly in, but to get an easier matchup potentially.
I think everybody's going to have their eyes on the Badger South this week, as it is for all the marbles. Monona Grove is going to be at Stoughton. We saw Stoughton earlier. That is a program on the rise. They continue to be undefeated, now hosting a very good Silver Eagle football team.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the old school versus the new school type of thing. It's, what is it, second, third year for Coach Dan Prawl over at Stoughton. I can't remember which year he's in, but he's still early on, but he's built a great program there, and a surprise 7-0 team, and now you're going against a team that's been there before, so what's going to give? I want to give the edge to Monona Grove, but I'd love to see a surprise as well.
Yeah, Monona Grove, by the way, 64 more points, a team that's averaging 50 points a game. Alec Ogden is ridiculous.
Alec Ogden in that game, 273 yards through the air and 4 touchdowns. He's over 1,800 yards on the season and 20 touchdowns, so he's second in the conference.
Yeah, how about 20 touchdowns versus just 1 pick?
No way. Okay, didn't see that.
Absolutely amazing for Alec Ogden. In our final minute, I want to touch on Madison Edgewood. Now, we're going to see them. We saw them earlier this year. We're going to see them also in the final week of the season against Milton, a game that could be big for Milton in their push for the playoffs. But a big story coming out that Edgewood wants out of the Badger South Conference, and there's a lot of implications there for lots of teams if that does happen.
Well, the thing that their proposal for getting out of the conference is, hey, we have like half the enrollment of these teams that we're facing every week, and I mean, 0-7 record aside, that's just not going to bode well for getting good players.
Right, absolutely. And it's tough on those kids, tough on everybody that's running that football program. But it might start a chain reaction where all of a sudden we're conference free and we're just looking at divisions then.
I don't know. We talked about this earlier today. Like, just what would that mean? Like the rivalries? I don't know. Are we still going to have rivalries?
Yeah.
We're going to see new rivalries. You got to think. So it'd be fun to see. I guess that.
It'd be a lot of fun. It'd be strange as well. Good stuff. Hey, we got Sun Prairie at Verona this week on the A1 Furniture and Mattress High School Bowl Series, and we'll surely talk about that next week. Good job, man.
Yeah, you bet.